Okay, so we're going to take a look now at 22 through 26. Remember 22, 23, and 24 are talking about slopes. So let's take a look at those. So I'm going to blow up 22. So here we have it. Apparently my iPhone is not as great as I thought it would be. Okay, this image is a little blurry, but that's okay. What do we have here? So we have, we have to find the slope. So there's two ways of doing this. One, what I try to stress in class is to tell you whenever you have it, the graph going up and down, the slope is undefined. So up and down is undefined. So it's a little easy way of remembering it. You could actually prove it to yourself. So if you think about it, this function is always rising. You could say it's rising 1, you could say 2, you could say 10, you could say 1,000,000. It doesn't matter. So you have some number, and it runs 0. So you have some number over 0. And remember what we said, when 0 is under, it's also undefined because you can't divide by 0, right? So there's two ways of looking at it. I would stress to memorize when it goes up and down, it's undefined. That's easy enough. But if you use the slope formula, no matter how much you rise, you never go to the right or left. You never run. So because you never run, the denominator is 0, and anytime you have 0 in the denominator, it's undefined. Okay? Well, let's now look at 23. 23 is a normal problem, so let me post that real fast. Give me 2 seconds. So that was apparently 2 seconds. And let's go ahead and solve this. So what are we doing? Well, remember the slope again. This is just like all the previous problems. It's rise over run. So we're going to say how much do we rise? Well, we go up 1, 2, 3. How much do we run? 1, 2, 3. So we rise 3. You run 3. So the slope is 3 over 3, which is simply 1. Okay. Again, if you want to, you can go down 3 and to the left 3. So we can say go down 3 and to the left 3. And if we're doing that, they're both negative, which means that the final result still is positive. And again, you don't have to take this point and this point. You could take, let's say, these 2 points, and you would still go up 3 and over 3, or down 3 and over 3. So it doesn't really matter what points you pick when you do this. Typically, again, we go rise and then we run. So we usually go up and then to the right, if possible. So we usually, because we read left to right, we usually pick a point to the left, and then we pick a point to the right. But you don't have to. Okay, well, let's look at the next one. So the next one, number 24, is more of the same. Let's blow it up. Okay, so here's 24. Here, what we see is if we use rise over run, what we notice is that we are not rising. So the rise is 0, and the run is your call. You could say you're running 5. You could say you're running 10. You could say you're running all the way out to infinity, right? It doesn't matter. You have wherever you decide you want to go to, you go to. So, but it's rise over run. So because the numerator is 0, this slope is going to be 0. 0 divided by a number is always 0. So the slope here is 0. The other way that we talked about this is we said that this makes the letter Z as in 0. Okay, so this is a little mnemonic. So horizontally, when you have a horizontal line, they have a 0 slope. When it's up and down, it's undefined. So hopefully that makes sense. You want to make sure you always have that. You'll use it in your future classes. Okay, 25. So 25, we're given 2 points. The 2 points we're given are 2, -3, and 3 and 9. And we're asked to find the slope. So to find the slope is, again, rise over run. And there's 2 ways to do this. The common way is to use the slope formula. So rise is y values. So if we're playing with y values, it's y2 minus y1 over x values, which are x2 minus x1. So we just can plug in the points. Now, if we plug in the points, be careful. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So I usually group the y's on top and the x's on the bottom, because on the equation you group the y's on top and the x's on the bottom. Okay. What we see here is that negative negative makes a positive. So you have 9 plus 3, which is 12, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So we're left with 12 over 1, or simply 12. Okay? So that's one way of doing it. Another way, we can always, remember you can always do this. If you get stumped, graph. So if I graph this, let me write the points again. So we have 2, negative 3, and then we have 3, 9. So 2 would be here, negative 3 would be here, so 2, negative 3 would be right here, and 3, 9, here's 3, count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 is right here, so 3, 9 would be like right there, and then let me erase these little points that form because I draw straight lines. When I write, I have to always write on the pad. You don't care about that. Let's keep going. Okay, so what do we do? So, well, if I start here and I want to go up here, how much am I rising? Right? How much do I go up? Well, if you think about it, this is 3 and this is 9. So this is 3, this is 9. It's a total of 12. So I go up 12 and I go to the right how much? I go to the right 1. So again, the slope is 12 over 1, coming from rise over run. That's an S. Okay? It's the ugliest S ever. I can't stand it, I have to rewrite it. Much better. Rise over run. Okay? So, again, you can always graph if you don't know, if you forget your formulas, but I think it's easier if you just use the formula. Okay, we have one more question. So the last question here we have is find the slope based off 4x plus 5y equals 22. And so let's write that out. So we're going to graph, we have to figure out the slope of 4x plus 5y equals 22. Now, the way that I taught this in class, the easiest way, and unfortunately it's the way that most people forget, is the slope is, if it's in standard form, this is standard form, it's negative a over b. So what that means is that all I have to do is realize that that's a, and this is b. So we go negative 4 over 5, and you're done. Okay? So if you remember that equation, this is very, very, very simple. Unfortunately, most people don't remember that equation. So an alternative process is you just put in y equals mx plus b. So that means you always kind of want to subtract 4x first. So you always move the x first. And then you divide by 5. And we're good to go. So it's your call how you want to approach it. This is the standard way. I think this is the easiest way. But there we have it. So hopefully this all makes sense on this page. And I will see you when I see you.